have to go.
Yes, my name is Mona Toscano, and I had the honor of having been Poet Laureate for Newburgh 2 years ago, about a year or so ago. And even before that, on the anniversary of 9/11, the city asked me to read in a memorial for 9/11, its first anniversary, and this is the poem that I wrote. The victory over, at the end, in the beyond, almost to the very end, in a dream vision, a mystic sighting, a raw red sign pulsating, a blood-seeping backdrop with barely discernible symbols, hardly legible until the backdrop breathes and a fresh wound, the backdrop breathes and a fresh wound, red letters illuminate the word victory. A gash in the heart, blood sprouting, sight of victory over a raw red background. And there appears over the letter V the names of the recent 9/11 dead, barely discernible names of the World Trade Center dead, the terror debacle dead in the quadrant above the V and of the pulsating blood word victory, and below the illusion of so many dead under the V were the names of those who died in Kabul and Kandahar, and above the next pulsating letter, the I in victory, as well as below the I were the names of the recent dead in Iraq. A long, long list above and below the sliver of the I, names in Arabic and Farsi, Iraqi dead, spiraling letters in their names flying letters like knives flying and torpedoes, in their names flying letters like knives flying torpedoes, zooming letters in a column from the top to the bottom of the I, and all the names written in Iraqi, and all the dead since Desert Storm, names in the towering column, hundreds and thousands of names, 3 times the height of the World Trade Center, blasted names in the pulsating backdrop, a bloody dripping over victory. Who can count the names in the towering list of names? Thousands upon thousands of bleeding names, 2 over the letter C. See the names over the bloody sea of victory, a sea of blood. Names of the Hiroshima dead, names of the Nagasaki dead. Who can count all the dead? The letters bleeding over the names of the dead in a dream of blood death. Term victory over and below a bloody sea in victory. Who counts the dead? Over the letter T, the name of the Russian dead, and below the crossbar of the Iranian dead, and under the O, the names of the Bosnian dead, Chechnya dead. And who died believing in an ism, nationalism, patriotism, fanaticism, terrorism, totalitarianism, partisanism, royal deityism, so many names, Iraqi names, 3 times the height of the tower names, 4 times the Nagasaki names. Who counts the names? Who remembers the Chipkas or the children sacrificed to Aztec gods, their parents proud to send them up the stairs, hundreds of stairs like towers, where the children's blood ran down, poured down to please the gods and avenge demons, the conquistadors' blood, debacle, shedding blood, every step of the way, blood seeping into stone in Mexico. The names of the dead, who counts the dead spilling and spelled over victory? Who remembers the air thick with blood, the bloodthirsty craving, the sanguine taste, thick after taste of death, the acquired taste of the count who impaled Muslims who trespassed on his land, insane Transylvanian, infiltrated death in Port-au-Prince, the stirring hate of who muffled to ultimate sorrowful cries of the entrailed before the wall in Cathay, who erased the crossbow sight of the sounds of sorrowful names above and below, horrendous, haunting Holocaust names, hundreds of thousands of martyred and concentration camp, labor camp, dead, floating in blood-bleeding death list, victory spelling death, and the names of those who died because of isms, Gnosticism, imperialism, Catholicism, over the R are Armenian names, And who will count the names above the bleeding? Why? Bleeding names in a bloody word illuminate those who died for isms, communism, Nazism, patriotism, Bolshevikism, nationalism, colonialism, terrorism, bomb-killed, mind-killed, brain-crushed, brainwashed, electroshock disintegrated, firing squad executed, blizzard to pieces, nuclear bombarded, the hunger starved and dismembered, shot and hung, torture flailed and impaled, gutted entrails and pails of blood over and below the wailing, Sabine, raped and then killed. The names of the dead over and below the bleeding blood, their word victory, millions of names, Holocaust names, Israeli and Palestinian names, Kashmiri and Pakistani, Bangladesh names, Columbine names, Kosovo names, the names of Kurds, Burmese and Sri Lankese, Congolese, Philippines, Cambodians, Rwanda, Nigerian names, even the names of the Mali children who starved to death yesterday, Hutu names, the 500,000 Tutsi names, Somali and Taiwanese, Peking, Nanking, Opushan names, millions of names, tons of names of those who died in fusillades because of isms, the smattering inflamed in Waco, bleeding in Oklahoma Federal Building, the names of those who died in Auschwitz and the Bay of Pigs in Monte Cristo, Dresden and Bolivia, on those Protestantisms, Islamisms, paganisms, terror inland, terror over land, fratricide in civil wars, infanticide in Vietnam and Bethlehem and Chile and Peru, the disappeared in Argentina, the South American names above the letter R, the Korean names, El Salvador, bleeding names in East Timor, the names of the ones who died, nameless, German and English, French and Italian, Eritrean, Libyan, Syrian, Croatian, Polish names, Castilian, Canadian and American, Santo Dominican names, the names of all the slaves killed since Abraham, since Agamemnon, bastard slaves, Cypriot, Hungarian, Greek and Turkish names, Tibet, Swahili, Burundi names, Senegalese and Indo-Chinese, Japanese and Mongolian, Afghani and those who died bleeding because of or for religion in Bethlehem and Belfast, Jonesville and Beirut, Ulster, Dachau, Islamabad and Dhaka, Srinagar, Jalalabad, Baghdad, all those who died crucified or immolated, tarred and feathered, lynched, those hacked or smothered, whose skulls commingled with seeds and weeds in the killing fields of Phnom Penh, those stoned, gutted and drowned in Damascus, all those who died choking in their own blood along the broken arrow trail of Custer. Who counts the names of the dead? The illusion word whose letters are bleeding torpedoes, bleeding nuclear missiles. Axe out, bleeding towers of ash and bone dead, bleeding terror in and out of land dead, shredded dead, the list of the names since Cain killed his brother, since the heart-wrenching cry Seth sobbed over Abel. Those names, yes, those names, if they were listed, would tower high beyond the yet-to-be discovered galaxies. Those names, if they were leaves, would outnumber all the leaves of the trees, beginning with the first forest of the world to the oldest forest in the world. Leaves so heavy with names, they would sink continents, staggering, one leaf atop another with some other, the planet that spilt blood, dew, earth, mixed blood, condensing. War spewed blood, sang blood, viscous blood, blood bubbling like boiling pitch, blood gravely as burnt sienna, blood glowing so red its center is dawn-drenched yellow, blood dried pale, and Sahara sand, black as Amazon silt, coagulated thick as corroded iron, catastrophic compilation of corpse, the overpowering stench of death and decomposition, the weight of the leaves sinking, continents sinking, galaxies, the sinking, stinking, spilt blood weight, heavier than the weight of the ancient gods of war, heavier than the weight of forgotten leaders who were upheld as God because they declared war, because they led forgotten soldiers to war. The ad infinitum list of names of forgotten soldiers. Who remembers those names, those endless names? And what is our short memory? What about Afghanistan? How much does it take to lose a war? Who remembers the echo of Seth's cry, the stark crack of the club clobble that clobbled Abel, the clash of shields in Peloponnesia, in Judea, in Babylon, the Babel towers falling, the names forgotten, the letters of forgotten names and forgotten letters of forgotten names, all the ancient letters and new scripts commingled in victory over what? Who remembers? Only the places remain, territories of destruction, lands of the dead, along the banks of lamentation, capitals of grief, in the channels of debris, where buried bones turn to dust, corpse ash commingle with the floating mist, where masses of the dead pile. Memory is mother, Mnemosyne is no more. In every nation the righteous hover over those they kill, sob over the interment of their own war dead sons and daughters. Who is right? Who will be left? Who believes in the core deception that there can be final victory, the illusion, the false faith in victory? Who will utter the final cry before annihilation, when the Alpha and the Omega list of the names of the dead stretches beyond the beyond, at the very end, when the door of life slams shut, when the key to regeneration is lost and forgotten? Then who will remember the ultimate war? Who will recall humanity is over, life detonated, breath no more, victory over what?
Bravo, bravo, bravo.
Yeah, what are we going to do? It's just,
I would,
Desjardins said we don't have the gene for peace.
Hold on. I'll get on a knee and share this moment. I think this.
he's
Oh la
disappearing.
la!
I'm trying to get in here and I just fell on my arse. I think it's quite obvious that we as a genus are totally incongruous to the rest of the biosphere. No other living creature threatens the biosphere for its survival. None. Only us. And our legacy is this perpetual genocide of ourselves. I truly believe that we were created by the Anunnaki, who needed a slave race, and instilled in us from Homo erectus, Homo habilis, mixing their own blood to create a slave labor force just smart enough to do the task at hand, because they needed specific things to be done without going into that long laundry list. But when they left, we were left, and our frontal cortexes kept growing. And we, our second chromosome, and I think it's the 5th or the 7th, which has to do with the mandible and the ability to speak, are incongruous to the rest of the chromosome chain. Be that as it may, we have to clean up our act. Otherwise, we are truly going to annihilate ourselves. And everyone going, oh, the earth and the earth. The dinosaurs were here for 165 to 170 million years. That's a success story. Our recorded history is maybe 12,000 years now with Göbekli Tepe. And if you really want to stretch it back to the first time the Anunnaki, according to their recorded record, were here, we could stretch it maybe 400,000, but a sweet section, say 250,000 years. That's nothing. So if you don't like the way the world is, boys and girls, change the way you think. Otherwise, we're going to perpetuate our own destruction.
Well,
Thank you, Mona.
You're welcome.
This genius. Darth Vader's mother.
Oh, no.
hey,